host, Maureen Metcalf, the founder and CEO of the Innovative Leadership Institute, where we help leaders be future ready. Helping us in that mission today is Susan Howe, CEO of Weber Shandwick, the leading earned first strategic communication and consulting network spanning 60 global markets. We'll be talking about the evolving challenges and innovations in public relations. First of all, Susan, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Hey, Maureen, so good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. You have an incredibly busy and prominent role, and we're looking forward to hearing your perspective.
As you said, I'm at Weber. We're a leading consultancy helping clients navigate communications challenges. And really, our mission is to evolve the communications industry, to create the pace, to lead the industry forward in service of solutions for our clients. So incredibly lucky to partner with 50 of the Fortune 100, just major industries all around the world. And I think we all are experiencing this incredible pace.
So, Susan, what are the biggest challenges facing public relations today, and how is Weber Shandwick evolving itself to meet those challenges?
I think that it's actually a great time to be in communications and be in the public conversation that is earned. Because when you think about how media has changed so rapidly, the art of effective storytelling, understanding your audience, motivating your communities actually is at an all-time high. The way that people consume news and information has changed not just in the last 6 years or 6 months, but the last 6 weeks. And the arc of the media networks is evolving rapidly. So it's a great time to be in the field. I guess some people could look at that as a challenge because it means you need to always be thinking about what's next, studying the industry, adapting to the networks, and I'm using lowercase n there, adapting to the changes. But for us, I think it's a moment of excitement. We know that we're providing so much value to our clients, bringing them the insights both from what's happening in the media environment, but also about the stakeholders they're trying to reach. So the kind of work that we do really spans the gamut. We support clients with corporate advising. What should they stand for and say? All the way through to the marketing side of the equation, where we're helping them promote products and services and differentiate themselves. So going way back to answer your question, I view the challenges as an opportunity, and kind of the conversation we've been having all along already this afternoon, which it is the pace of change. You can choose to be exhilarated by that or exhausted. I do believe it's a choice. And I would say our collective mindset here at Weber is to dive into that, learn from it, and continue to provide counsel.
And that mindset has to come from you.
Well, I'm very lucky to be part of an incredible leadership team. You may have seen I have really built my career at Weber. I'm coming up actually in the next few weeks on 29 years. So I am one very lucky person who's been part of an amazing team over those years. Our culture is very, very deep, and we have leaders who I think feel the same choice of embracing the uncertainty, embracing the environment, and innovating through it. And absolutely, I want to set that as my agenda, but it is also the heritage and legacy of, and really the deep culture of our operation.
So, what do you do as a leader? You've talked about yoga. How do you in the office reinforce this mindset of, you talked about yoga being a long held tradition. So, building on the traditions of what leaders do. So we still need strategy, we still need vision. And yet I think about leading a strategy session for a TV news station several years ago. And that strategy didn't unroll as they had imagined. The world overtook them. How do you balance that sense of strong foundation with the idea that the world is, you've said, moving in 6 weeks, things have changed. With the addition of AI, I imagine your entire field is continuing to evolve at an accelerating pace.
Absolutely. I mean, AI is a huge topic, and I'm shocked that we made it however many minutes into this discussion without it coming up. I will definitely circle back around to that because I think it is a tool, and I think we have a differentiated offer to support clients. But thinking more broadly about strategic foundation, and we have a very clear North Star in terms of solving for our clients throughout some of the most challenging business conditions and delivering solutions for them. But we also have an incredible depth and breadth of specialism. So what I think sets us apart and what makes us able to continue to grow and thrive, even with all that's happening in the world, is the expertise of these amazing minds coming together in unique ways. So when I think about both our heritage, our legacy, and the way we're looking to the future, it is always about bringing on expertise when needed, having true subject matter gurus to help introduce us to different facets of how communications is changing. And as we set strategy, we always are inviting the inputs from many, many perspectives around the globe. So we have a diversified business. That's an incredible benefit in times of change, but it's also an incredible benefit in terms of bringing different points of view, different specialisms, different capabilities, and having those into a giant melting pot cauldron of what the strategy will end up being.
I love the image of a cauldron, actually. That I'm thinking of my Halloween of childhood
Teamwork is magic. Teamwork is magic.
Yeah.
Maybe cauldron isn't quite right.
I would.
You get
It's a beautiful, beautiful image of distilling different perspectives and perspectives that each one on their own would be brilliant. And when you smash them together, unless they're distilled, like bubbled and really integrated, they can't work together. That distillation process is required to crystallize what becomes the magic and the differentiator between truly world-class firms and solutions and really good, but not brilliant. And in some cases, as we watch the bifurcation of organizations, there are a lot of organizations that are good today that won't exist in a year.
I mean, what a beautiful way you just reflected my thoughts, and I love it. But I think it's absolutely true. We get to set the culture, but we also get to drive our own agenda. And driving our agenda means we need thinkers who are analyzing the political environment. We need thinkers who are experts in the capital markets. We need thinkers who are healthcare leaders. We need thinkers who are brand marketeers. We need thinkers who are analysts. And when you put all of that together, you end with some answers, not always the answer, but some answers to how can we help shape our clients' narrative and ultimately impact their business.
And I want to make this distinction, correct me if I'm wrong. You're not just accepting their strategy, you're feeding into their strategy and helping formulate in the best of cases. I realize you've got a range of clients.
We are so lucky the kinds of partnerships that we have with clients. And absolutely, there are many clients who have held very successful business strategy for decades and beyond. Mm-hmm. And in those cases, our role may be related to telling the story and what are the channels and what are the communities to activate. But there are also times when we really help them drive their own transformation and unearth the points of view that may exist in the operation that need to be celebrated and elevated. So it's a wide spectrum, as you would imagine with a consultancy of our size.
Well, unearth in your clients and then partner back to this cauldron that you bring perspectives that they may not have, right? That if they're in healthcare, because you mentioned healthcare, they may not be deep in finance. They may not be looking at if you're in healthcare, you've got to be looking at global politics. But thinking about your level of analysis may be much deeper than any specific client because of your scope and span.
I absolutely believe that one of the great joys of consultancy and being advisors and partners to clients is the incredible privilege we have of seeing so many different businesses in action and how you're able to learn and meld and apply from a broader perspective. And as you say, we also have mirrored that in the team that we very deliberately built that has these diverse perspectives, all kinds of different thinkers. And I do think that that is valuable to clients in a particular way. And I do think that we are much more today than what was originally called traditional PR. And I'm proud to work at a communications agency and to work in PR, but I also feel that what we do today is really help clients earn their place. And when you think about how the media environment has shifted, we know that earning a reaction, earning an engagement with the community, earning your employees' trust, that is something different that's evolving every day.
I love the idea of earning and employees' trust, stakeholders' trust, clients' trust. I had a conversation with a large global company yesterday because they are on our podcast occasionally, and the difference between sponsoring and earned. And right now we don't have sponsors, so they're all earned. And what does it do if we add sponsorship in, and does it diminish the idea that we have earned our place and are telling our story rather than we're an op-ed or a paid feature? And so it is interesting, the idea of how do I earn trust and earn credibility in the current media space.
I mean, there are dozens and dozens of studies, including some that we ourselves have done, that show when you hear a recommendation from a friend or you listen to your favorite podcast host like Maureen, how you receive the information is different than when you see it in a paid space. And of course, the media ecosystem is such that those things can often work together. But we believe that to earn value, you must contribute value. And when you're doing that, it amplifies the impact.
So, how do you contribute value?
How does Weber contribute value? Great question. And I feel super proud of how we contribute value, because I know we help our clients with some of their most rigorous business challenges. And those business challenges can be driving sales for a product. They can be helping navigate an issue. It can be about helping them identify the next market that might make sense for them. That's value that we put in the world. I think we also put value into the world by the team that we have created. We're 3,000 people strong around the world. We are energetic, curious individuals. I think that there is a lot of magic, not to go too deep there, in being a workplace that is committed to excellence and development. The way that we talk about ourselves, it is a reflection in terms of being a team-based entity. It's a reflection of how we also talk about the client work. The client work requires a diversity of skill sets, understanding, sector expertise, but that also is career enabling. When you think about the opportunities you can find being in a global organization where you may work today with one sector, you may be willing to move to another location, you may be able to develop a new capability. We believe that our employees are also growing because of the way that we have built Weber.
To that end, you've described reinvention not as a one-time transformation, but as a way of life. And that philosophy shaped your leadership approach. You've talked about teams, people being able to move between teams, between locations, between roles. And so how do you instill that mindset across a global organization? Because I assume for some people that's a no-brainer. Of course they want that. And for other folks, that's outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. We are committed as an agency to continuous reinvention. We talk about it in every setting, in every forum. Mm-hmm. We even describe ourselves internally as the agency of the future. But this is decades in the making. And I think it comes from the very lucky spot to be in a leadership place for a long time and continuing to innovate. We invite innovation and we expect innovation. And in fact, we also evaluate people on how they are innovating. It is very special to me, having been here so long, and I am, in baseball parlance, a homer, which is I'm for the home team, and I am very, very obviously loyal to Weber Shandwick after 29 years. This is an amazing place. But one of the things that is most special to me is when I visit offices all around the world, you see and feel this culture. I think that we attract a certain kind of talent, and I think the people who love the energy we put into the work and the embracing of change are the people who stay the longest and who have the most success. So there is definitely a culture that embraces this mindset.
If you were to put 2 or 3 words to the mindset, I've heard innovation, I've heard collaboration, I've heard stakeholder and meeting our stakeholders' needs. I've heard future ready or some variation of that. I've heard magical. I've heard, I'll say synthesis instead of cauldron. Um, how do you describe your culture?
I mean, I do have two words and I use them often, and they may seem incongruent because the first is relentless, restless, relentless for reinvention. And that is who we are and how we've always been. What is next? And equally strong is collaboration. And we set a strategy long ago that we would win by working together versus operating in silos. When you talked about that great synthesis of having a healthcare mind plus a brand mind plus a policy mind plus an analytics mind, we have always said we will win by deliberately encouraging behaviors and not creating boundaries to collaboration. So you may think relentless and collaborative may not go together because they could seem at odds. There's an edge to one and perhaps a softness to the other, but I say they fit beautifully. And I say actually the way that we have done it really makes them mirror each other and build upon one another.
So I'm looking as you speak to our 7 mindsets for successful leaders. And one is unwavering commitment to right action. So if we think of Jim Collins, tenacious and humble, that tenacity and unwavering commitment to doing the right thing, I would put in the relentless category. And then innately collaborative is one of the others. And so it's interesting to see those reflected in your language so strongly.
Yeah, and it is innately, but it's also planfully. So I think that's important to note. There are some people who are born collaborative, certainly. They're best sharing their toys and building things together, but we also have designed collaboration. And I think that permeates a culture. And I also think that it enables who stays, who thrives, who grows. So yes, absolutely, there is how you begin, but also what we purposefully designed.
I agree. People will often throw out these words that sound right. Like everyone says, we want our customers to be happy, but have we designed it in? Or are they words on a plaque at the front door, or even worse, on the voice, on the message that I have to listen to on hold for 15 minutes telling me how important I am, when it's good that I'm, not able to grab somebody that is saying these words to me. And so the building the structure that you were the chief collaboration officer, that there is such a thing, that I assume it's built into the performance appraisals. It's built into all of the project structure.
Yeah, right. Honestly, that was the best title of all time. I think it was first of its kind C-suite to be chief collaboration officer. And my predecessor, Gail Hyman, who is an amazing leader who I learned so much from working beside her for many years. She created the role with me in mind to create more systematized structure for collaboration. And it was at a critical juncture when, again, the industry was changing. P.S. Right now, it's happening not 6 weeks, not 6 months, but often it is changing. She recognized the need for change and empowered me to develop systems and structures for teaming that I believe help lead us forward.
So as we said, we would come back to AI. We talk about the rate of change. I'm curious, one, as you look forward, and so let me give an example of something I heard from a senior executive yesterday from one of the top 50 companies in the world-ish, that kind of range. head of enterprise architecture. He said at one of the large companies, they've combined the CHRO role with the CIO role. I'm not advocating that, by the way.
Wow.
But the idea that at some point in time, he's saying in the next 6 months, that AI agents will become employees and will have teams that are agents and humans. And so now many of us use tools like Copilot or ChatGPT or something. It's part of our job, but it's not an entity driving itself. And as we think about that as a data point for, as I think about how do we optimize our presence when people are doing Copilot searches instead of Google searches, all the things that need to change. How are you even starting to navigate that? It seems like upending of how parts of your work are, other parts won't change as much, but parts of your work will be significantly influenced by this.
Oh, absolutely. This is seismic. But again, in an exciting way, I generally think. And frankly, everything in communications has upended time and time and time again. And we could go through the history. I know that we will continue to lead because the way that we are leaning into really best-in-class solutions and tools. We are testing, innovating, partnering, using every single day AI. And I think that it is making us smarter and faster. That is value to our clients. I also think that the humans still have the edge. And so I know that the insights and the expertise we bring on top of an amazing tech stack that is fully loaded, it's a combination that will unlock more. So we're thinking about it every day. We're also deploying tools, support, and in the encouragement once again to our teams to innovate. And I find, as I have said, our legacy has been this restless, relentless innovation. The way teams are bringing AI to life, you can just see how it's going to expand our horizon. So a couple examples in the communication space. One is cultural insights to find what is the cultural conversation. And AI gives us a chance to read so much more of what's happening in the community to help our clients exactly pinpoint where their story crosses culture. And that always makes something more relevant and interesting. We're also helping protect clients. We talked a lot about stakeholders, and we're able to use AIs as synthetic personas. How will different audiences receive messages that we are creating and putting into the world? And I do think the agentic workforce is ahead. And I think that teams that have a mindset for adaptability and growth are the ones that will continue to thrive.
I love that. I love the embracing and the synthetic. How do I test my messages with my AI versions of
Stakeholders, different groups.
pick the demographic.
Yeah. There's so many ways. And again, our culture has always been about create, bring it forward, let's do it, let's go, surface scale, move on. And P.S., something else is going to come again. We are not done. The next chapter is around the corner. I don't know what it is, but maybe my AI Susan could predict it for us.
Your AI Susan will predict something where we don't know how accurate she'll be, but she will predict.
We still need the humans. We need the humans
Yeah.
to give us the edge.
Well, the other place, at least for me, is humans trust humans. Some humans trust AI, maybe a little overly trusting, but when it's time to implement a change, I'm going to trust you, Susan, my boss, when you say something. That's going to be different than AI Susan saying something
Surely.
because you've been reliable and you've said earned trust. You've earned trust over 29 years. And if we think, one of the things I talk about with AI implementation is it is, if we reduce it to its simplest level, it's yet another change initiative. So we had ERPs, we had e-commerce, all the stuff. And this is seismic, to use your word, and yet it is another change management initiative. Humans will need to change at a faster pace, and we as their human bosses, for lack of a better term, leaders of companies will need to help define the path, experiment in a way that is responsible.
Well, and also we need to enable our teams. We need to sponsor them through the journey. We need to give them the tools. We need to be the ones creating best in class. We need to show what good looks like. We need to say we're willing to try and fail. Like, that's our job as leaders.
Back to this large organization where we were talking about AI, one of the things he said is 120,000 employees or something like that, and a fairly decentralized model. He said, we're going to fail all over the place, right? We're going to try stuff and it's going to be brilliant. We're going to try stuff and it's going to be abysmal. We have to find a way to try and not blow things up. And we have to create this culture where fail fast doesn't capture the feeling it conveys to me. Because I'm watching organizations fail. They've run off and used this fail fast idea, and unfortunately, they've blown up their company, or they've blown up a significant portion of their organization because they may have failed fast, but that just means they go out of business faster. We've got to get smarter about how do I experiment in a controlled way where, yes, I encourage people, go do, go try, and scope the experimentation in a way that we learn, we share the learning across our organization. Not everyone has to engage in the experiment to learn from the experiment.
Absolutely. But everyone needs to engage in AI. So they need to find their own experiment, for sure.
So as we wrap up, what do you want our listeners to be thinking about? One, regarding Weber Shandwick and the role of communications going forward, and two, as they look at you as an exemplar leader that is creating this relentless collaborative environment that experiments and at the same time acknowledges the service you're providing to all of your stakeholders. There's a massive responsibility, and you haven't used that word, but I feel it in our conversation, that you are responsible to the people you serve and responsible to and for the people on your team. And that comes through in your passion for your work.
Oh, how very kind. What a lovely reflection. I appreciate that so much. I think for those who tuned in thinking about communications, I want to say it can be a wild ride out there, and find the partners, find the solutions, find the tools to deliver your message. Know who you are, know who your stakeholders are, and put your best foot forward in this environment. So that requires a lot of effort. A lot of great companies and individuals do that, certainly. What I love to spark in leaders who may be listening is just my own gratitude that comes from every day showing up, putting my feet under my desk, getting that yoga in, starting from a grounded place, and knowing that that can drive both incredible opportunity and also joy.
I love that you ended with joy.
Kind of nothing more.
Well, in a time that can feel unsettling, finding that there is joy in our world and that we can find it in ourselves and in our workplaces is so comforting, because it's easy to feel unsettled when I tune into the news. So, Susan, how would people learn more about Weber? And do you have a LinkedIn account or someplace where someone would follow your thought leadership?
Oh, sure, of course. Thank you for asking. We are webershandwick.com, and I am on LinkedIn, as you'd expect. It's Susan Howe. Howe.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, your joy, and your care for the results and the impact you make in the world.
My goodness, I got a lot of energy out of this conversation. So now I'll go buzzing into the rest of my afternoon. So thank you very much. Great to see you. Great to be with you.
Thank you. And thanks to our listeners for joining us on Innovating Leadership, Co-Creating Our Future. Are you interested in elevating the quality of your leadership? The Innovative Leadership Institute offers best-in-class leadership development, executive advising, and organizational transformation services. Send me a note at inquiries@innovativeleadership.com. The world's most successful leaders are created here. Also, as a note, if you enjoyed this podcast, please like us, share us, subscribe, and leave comments. Your comments and your subscribership allows us to gain the support we need to continue to grow and bring you world-class programming.